How to create HTML radio buttons. When we need to create one or more radio buttons in an HTML page, there's essentially two steps we have to take. The first step is to create our opening and closing form tags, and the second step is to create at least one input tag that's going to serve as our radio button. So let's get started by creating our opening and closing form tags. And the next thing we do is create our input tag. Now, input tags are self-closing, so you only have the opening tag with a closing slash at the end. There's our input tag. Now, the last little piece of detail that we need in order to make this particular input appear as a radio button is to set the type attribute. In this case, the type will be radio. Let's save our work and let's see how far we've gotten. So far we have a simple radio button, not too fancy. There's nothing written next to it, which definitely won't work in any app situation. So let's put a little text next to it. We'll type the word Monday, and we'll save it, and we'll go back here, and we can see it's now looking a little bit more like a radio button. But I would say that having one radio button is totally useless. You want to have at least two, because I think the real purpose of radio buttons is to make a choice between one or more things. So let's go back here and just create a second button. We'll do a little copy and paste to save time. And we'll make this one Tuesday. And we'll save that. Oops. Great. Save our work, go back, see how far we've gotten, and now we've got two buttons, Monday and Tuesday. Now you'll notice that these buttons are not mutually exclusive. You may have a situation where you want the user to be able to select multiple radio buttons, and that's fine. I would say by default most people would like to utilize radio buttons in a scenario where they are mutually exclusive. In order to accomplish this, we'll need to use the name attribute, and what that does is it groups the radio buttons together, which automatically makes them behave in a mutually exclusive way. So let's first put a little line break between these two so we can see what we're doing a little bit better. And next we'll go back and we'll create the name attribute. So here we'll do name equals weekday. Save our work, we'll go back, refresh, and you will notice that they're still not mutually exclusive, and the reason for that is that we need to set the name attribute on both of these. We'll do that here. Save our work, go back, refresh the page, and you'll notice that these buttons are now mutually exclusive. The reason again for that is that by setting the name attribute to the same value on both of these, we essentially put them in the same group. When you group them together, they automatically, by default, behave in a mutually exclusive way. So let's just see what a set of real-world radio buttons would look like. There's a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We'll save our work, go back here and refresh, and there you have it, a set of mutually exclusive HTML radio buttons. Let's just recap a little bit. The two basic elements of this page are the open and closing form tags, and then we have our input tags, and each input tag is self-closing, which means that it just ends with a / at the end of the single tag. The type has to be set to radio, which tells your browser how to render the input as a radio button. And then the final component is the name attribute, and by setting the name attribute the same on each one of our inputs, we group them together, which makes them behave by default in a mutually exclusive way, which means only one's choice can be selected at any given time. So, in a nutshell, that is how you create HTML radio buttons.